That point noted. That somehow along the line,
the quality of the candidate,
a popular candidate that will overwhelm everybody can come and be voted across party line. If that happens,
well, we take it as our fate. What he's saying actually is practical. In 2007, we came out for Martin Abbas running on all 4 cylinders. In fact, 8 cylinders.
I know where you're going.
The only politician of note from our zone that stood behind Martin, Captain Emmanuel Iheanacho.
Yes.
Every other politician of note from our zone said to us it is the turn of Okigwe. I know at some point a document was produced.
Since 1999.
Now, when by default Okigwe PDP did not have a candidate and they were not shopping for a candidate, they endorsed Martin. Perhaps if Martin had won, that charter of equity would have gone back to Owerri and then run its full course.
And now return to Okigwe.
In 2007, regardless of the embedded charter of equity that was being now followed, the masses said no, because that charter of equity, in the true spirit of it, ought to have favored the sitting governor. But the masses rebelled. Am I correct?
Yes. You know why they rebelled?
I disagree.
Hold, Chief Mike, you know why they rebelled?
Whatever.
Archbishop Obinna, let me give you. Don't worry. Let's not speak.
Okay.
See, Chief Archbishop Anthony Obinna, I'm a Catholic.
I disagree.
Father Gerard Njoko. I'm calling them so.
Okay. They galvanize.
Who in her own
memo
that said that she brought the military.
The elite galvanized
now a sitting
Then we are also getting distracted a little bit, because if we talk about justice, if we are talking about let's say let us tell ourselves the truth. Even though this charter of equity started 1999, when my uncle here, Dr. Ella Idibia, was speaking, he made a comment. He said, "Oh, we have taken their turn," and he made reference to Ewerem. When Ewerem came, it wasn't 1999. Like, it was after this charter of equity began from Achike Udenwa. And you cannot judge Owerri zone, and you can't say Ewerem has taken the tenure of Owerri zone by charter of equity, because he wasn't involved. It wasn't his child at all. Now, if by 2007 Chief Martin Abaso came, if we tell ourselves the truth of what played out in 2007, if we can be truthful to ourselves, you see that Martin Abaso won that election. Regardless of the fact that we can say elders went into the house and considered, even Chief Mike Wachuku here said that the only politician who stood with Martin Abaso was Iheanacho, Captain Emmanuel Iheanacho. Others were saying that it was Okigwe's turn. But who was the choice of the people as at 2007? The choice of the people was Martin Abaso. And then what it meant, therefore, is that the leaders who were supposed to be speaking the mind of the people, because as far as I'm concerned, leadership is a responsibility, not a position.
Yes.
If you're a leader, you are representing a people. You have to speak in the interest, because you are thinking for them, you are deciding for them. So your decision should represent the mind of the people. So if the mind of the people at 2007 was Martin Abaso, and something somehow happened, he did not emerge because of the politics that played out. That is injustice too. We don't have to look away from what happened there. And if we tell ourselves the truth, if we are talking about Martin Abaso being disenfranchised, we are talking about Owerri zone being disenfranchised. And then I can tell you for sure that Martin Abaso's involvement in what happened in 2011 if we say that he was the one that donated Apga's ticket to Oluso, that is yes, that must be grievance, because and everybody that worked with him, it is his pain. You can't slap me and tell me not to cry. He must, because he saw it. All of us saw what happened. He is pain. He was even in court to ask him for a while. So how do you now expect him to be happy in 2011 to support Okigwe's own? Such thing does not happen. Even if it were you, if it were me, you feel the same way. So the question I am now asking is, are we going to continue to looking at this charter of equity, and we are saying that Owerri's own and Okigwe's own should come together? Yes, but that's the truth. But is there nobody in Owerri's zone, in the entire Owerri zone, that is capable to be governor of Imo State 2027 or 2028? If you answer the question, you will see that there are many sound minds who can be at the helm of affairs in the state. And then, while we are talking about equity, are we also looking away from the clear truth that what happened in 2007 that was the chain reaction of everything that's happening today, because 2011 was a consequence of 2007, and from that 2011 till now, things has continued to go the wrong way. So is there anybody in Owerri who we can talk about when we come to this round table to say Okigwe and Owerri negotiate, synergize? Is there no way? And then also talking about movement of the demand of Okigwe's zone about the capital.
If you insist on taking the governor that belongs to us.
Yes, sir. No, if we insist, it's not about taking the governor that belongs to us. Now, I want to say something, sir. Yeah. Please, if we're talking about moving the state capital, the truth remains. If you are saying that the resources, how do you say that the resources of the state is used to
70%.
70% is invested here. Is invested here because this is the capital.
So why don't they let us be?
The question is, there is no day Imo State to be more developed than Abuja, because Abuja is the capital of Nigeria. It is modus operandi. It will happen everywhere. So we are not going to begin to judge by the level of development in the state capital, because this is where the state capital is, and by the reason of that, by reason, if the capital has to be moved, if you follow
some constitutional process.
You have to follow some constitutional process. Even the Senate has to vote.
Okay, well, because of our time, I want us to go this way and begin to summarize what is the way forward.
Yes.
What exactly is equity? Because honestly speaking, your last line, it hit something. 2011 is the consequence of 2007.
I agree.
Hold on.
Hold on.
That consequence.
Let me land the word I'm saying.
Okay.
2011 is the consequence of 2007.
Yes.
Now here is the thing. If I slap you once and you slap me back, and I slap you again and you slap me back, when is it going to end?
That is why it's
That is what I'm saying.
This fully continues.
So what is the way forward?
There's something I said earlier. I want us to divorce from this discussion.
Can we have one house? Can we have one house? I said something because
was not declared.
Let us raise
No, he was removed.
Listen. I said something that if Okigwe and Owerri zone must come together,
Can you address him?
the tone of that conversation has to be cordial. First of all. Secondly, it is important in healing a wound.
Yes.
You don't cover it.
They don't cover it. Yes.
If you open it, I wronged you. I'm sorry.
Bam.
Can we move on?
Yes.
Even the worst of the devils will begin to feel that at least you acknowledge a part or an error and we move forward.
Yes.
Could it be the thing that it needs to be done? Let's think as we summarize. I want to start from you, Dr. Dibe, so that we can. Sorry, I want to start from you.
Okay, fine.
Let's begin to summarize. Yes. What is equity and how do we harmonize this?
Yes. First of all, equity to me presupposes fairness, justice, and equality. There can be no equity without equality. Look at the geography of governance in Imo, it is obvious that Okigwe is far behind. But then you said it is good that if I wrong you, I admit I wronged you, isn't it? Because they talked about 2007. Abato was never declared governor by INEC. I stand to be corrected.
You are correct.
He was never declared. He cannot even have the prefix His Excellency attached to his name. He cannot have the prefix former governor attached to his name. We are mixing two things. If you want to call a shovel, call it a shovel. Don't call it agricultural implement. There are so many agricultural implements. You create confusion in the system. There will be noise in the semantic acceleration. Now, the pathway to go, you should be a priest. There should be restitution. A man was vilified, if not for anything. A man was called all sorts of names. A man, do you know what it means to say you beat the Reverend Father? I'm a Catholic. Ha! It is a taboo. You don't do it. And that was what caused that dislocation in 2011. Otherwise, we shouldn't be talking about this things now. Archbishop Obinna, Chris Anyanwu, Reverend Father Gerard Njoko, and their cohorts should go and apologize to Ike Nwakemo. Then after that apology, the Okigwe leaders and Ogbori leaders can now sit down. Because one, they have accepted they wronged this man. And by extension, they also wronged Okigwe. So by the time they admit this, perhaps Okigwe might be looking, what do we do? They wouldn't even be agitating, give us capital and take government again. The language might change. Dr. Lai might change his own tone.
Of course,
there should be restitution. That's my position. Thank you.
Okay, but so when you were raising on
equity is fairness and impartiality in considering treatment or sharing of the individual needs or group of people. Now, group of people in your states. How do we consider 2027 governorship in Imo State? Equity in a nutshell means fairness and impartiality, and it works with justice. And what is justice? Doing things right, lawfully. In terms of Charter of Equity in Imo State, in a reference point, come 2027, the genuine equity Imo people is seeking for must be fairness, must be justice. There must be justice. The question may rise, where is the justice for all people who have been produced governor for 24 years? Why can't them allow Okigwe or what is on who are agitating for the fairness or the equity to allow Okigwe to complete their tenure? That is the genuine equity Imo people is looking for, or Imo people is seeking for. That is the equity, fairness, impartiality.
Okay, before I move this way, okay, let me hear it.
I've really listened and observed everything you said so far. Thank you all for the contributions. I think in this closing stage, equity, I like it. That rightfully said, means fairness and not bringing in partiality in everything. Like in this case study, we're talking about Imo State here. So in this Imo State, I think from the beginning till now, what really matters is Okigwe and Owerri, they should go back to the drawing table. They should come with one voice. Like, although we are watching, we'll be watching and see what happens at the end. So in this whole matter, we should not be drawing back to the what happened in the past has happened. Let's proceed and let's find a way to implement this equity and fairness, because this is what we are talking about in the general of Imo State, because this case is for Imo lights.
So when we are talking about who is going to lead the next, there's other things which we rightfully mentioned here. The ministers and all that things, we should be in contention too. You understand? But first of all, the government seat is the case study. So in this equity and fairness, Okigwe, after their drawing board, after their drawing board, they should be able to give us somebody capable. Because in all of this, after equity and fairness and everything, at the end we don't get a good candidate. Although might be the people to produce a better candidate. And what's played before we play again.
You have a point.
Yeah. Thank you.
In all your drawing, the political.
Politically, that's what we need.
Chisom, do you have anything to add before I go to the war zone?
The war zone.
In conclusion, I had submitted before.
Why can you submit?
I can submit. I had submitted before. One of the things I said was that 2011 was a consequence of 2007. That is my position. And now you ask me the way forward. We agree to the fact that there is no way forward other than Owerri zone and Okigwe zone coming together. But then, who was aggrieved in 2011 and who was aggrieved in 2007? For me, in 2007, who was aggrieved was Martin Amasu. And that is why I said that what happened in 2011, Martin Amasu supporting Rochas, was a consequence of that action. So in 2011, Ohakim was aggrieved. Okigwe zone was aggrieved. The way forward, if Owerri zone and Okigwe zone is coming, let us not also forget that these two people are key players in the two zones too. Let there be a synergy. Let there be an understanding between the two of them, because they have both hurt each other. Let them come together and chart the way forward. If let me tell you this, if Ohakim, our former governor, and Chief Martin Amasu, for example, I'm not saying they are the ones that hold these two zones, but if these just two people can come together like this and then bring down their ego, talk to themselves, focusing on the interest of Imo State in general, not just themselves, not just their own personal or zone, but then focusing on Imo. If they come together and agree and say, look, let us talk. Now you have hurt me this 2007, I hurt you in 2011. We are both sorry. How do we come together to make sure that we produce a candidate that will perform in 2027 from either Okigwe zone or Owerri zone? If Okigwe zone and Owerri zone coming together, including these two parties, they come together and they decide that, okay, because I aggrieved you in 2007, let it go to Owerri. Because Okigwe was aggrieved in 2011, let it go back to Okigwe for Okigwe to complete their term. That would be a very, very soft landing. That would be the fairest thing to do. And if it happens that Okigwe takes their 4 years to complete their tenure, it will be a very smooth ride for Owerri to transit into power in 2000 that's after the 4 years. And there is something we have not mentioned here. There is only one person Owerri zone can trust if we are talking about this charter of equity. If we are returning to Okigwe, for example, there is only one person Owerri can trust that can go and do 4 years and come out, and it's Ohakim, because he is bound by law to do only 4 years.
Others can as well agree on 4 years.
No, if you put another man into that place after 4 years, he will cruise for 8 years.
You can't be too sure.
No, yeah, I can't be too sure, but that's possible.
You can't be too sure.
You can't risk it.
You can't risk it. So if we are talking about charter of equity going back to Okigwe, it has to be Ohakim.
Yes.
Because he's the only person bound by law to do only 4 years. If not that, then let it come to Owerri. Let Owerri do their tenure, and then you go to Okigwe zone. When we now get to Okigwe zone and they choose to do another 4 years, interrupting the Charter of Equity again. We continue from there to try to chart the way forward.
Okay, so I think we've got to your point.
I'm glad for one thing. It's good that the cream of personalities gathered here actually we're talking the same. We are really, when we look at what the contributions, so enriching, positive, and really a way of uniting our people. And generally, we tend to tow towards healing wounds. Everybody here appreciated that something went wrong sometime in the past, and there is need for us to really heal the wounds, because it's you can't really throw these things away, especially when they happen and people were hurt. So for us to really forge ahead, we must bring those things back, review them, and see how we can balance things. And the balancing the whole thing is just to make things easier for us. 8 years before where it comes, 4 years before Kigwe comes, and of course Okigwe already has a man standing. So that will make things easier for Imo State, make things easier for Owerri Zone. And what are we talking about? We are brothers. We can sit down and put these things together. We both should, the Imo people should be able to fashion out things that will suit them and solve our problems. We need a solution, and this solution is possible. So the Owerri man has something to contribute. The Okigwe man has something to contribute. The Olu man also, though we know that I've gone for a long time, but the constitution doesn't stop them. But in all fairness, they should be able to allow these other two zones to produce the government. But they should harmonize. Like Dr. Eli Dibia said, there has not been anything like voting in various primaries. You know, we are called politicians. There is nothing like voting. There is nothing like even in congresses. These things are shared among blocks and people. You just negotiate, narrow this thing down, and everybody at Kwaka is done. We can as well do that. How do we do that? It's for us to tell ourselves the home truth. That Imo must move forward. How can Imo move forward? A section of Imo State would have done their 8 years, and this problem we are facing now wouldn't have been there. So we heal it by allowing them. Let them just finish the remaining 4 years. And then, naturally, it will just go to Owerri Zone. Nobody will stop it. In fact, Olu will be glad that it's going that way. And after 8 years of Owerri Zone, then it goes to Olu, and then to Apigwe. We can do this. But if we continue to raise shoulders and try to cry that this that will continue to complete everyone. And the slapping will continue. The hurting will continue. And it will be endless.
Maybe when we get to this, we'll see whether the slapping will continue. Please have a summary.
Okay, let me tell us finally. Justice begets equity. Equity begets fair sharing. But Macbeth in his book says, fair is foul and foul is fair. Mm-hmm. That's why when Oloma wins, we still go and support him. We still go and keep behind. But this time around, the governor of Imo, whom I trust, is just dismissing the whole put of the man. Very smart. In fact, what will happen in 2028, he already knows. It's only we that don't know yet.
It's true. Very smart.
But I remember his words. He said, any zone that gives me the highest vote, when he was campaigning in 2023, just yesterday, that's the zone that will succeed him. He said it, and it has played out. This drama going on is an interesting one. I know you'll be watching the elders and what do you call them? All this league, Kigwe League, also Prof, Harmony. You'll be watching this and you'll be laughing. But the truth is that he will contribute 75% of who succeeds him.
Pure ED.
And that person that will succeed him must come from APC. Yes. As a party. As it is today, it is APC that produce the government. If anything will happen in the coalition, like Mike, my man, mentioned here, we're here to see what will happen. Because the coalition already has been hijacked by the MBC bloc. And he knows. I know what the MBC bloc. And by the time that is done, my friend here, Mike, will not be, it won't be comfortable for him to key into that so-called coalition coming. And then the man at the top, Tulumbu, will not allow coalition. He's collapsing every other political party to get a free entrance in 2027. You and I know all this. The ticket of the party will be given by the party at the headquarters. And the governor must say, this is who I want. So what are we saying? This forum is urging His Excellency the Governor to please do the right thing. Let Okigwe complete their tenure, just like all of us have said. And then, after that, let Owerri take. I will be the champion, I will be the front runner, I will be the DG of my friend Mike. I know then he will be right to the contest. That is what I want to say.
I wonder if he will agree with you in his own closing note.
In 2016, when Donald Trump won his election, a friend of mine called me from America and said to me, how did you stay in Nigeria and know that Trump would win? And then I said to him, because I took the analysis from my heart to my head. The heart does not see, the heart does not smell, the heart does not hear. When you take an analysis to your head, then you can think clearly. When it remains in the heart, it is filled with the emotions. Owerri Zone has 9 local government areas. You can't produce government. Okigwe Zone is worse. They have 6 local government areas. You can't even come near to it. Although with their 12 local government areas, we won't produce government. So one way or the other, people must come together. It's although willing to help you produce government, there is a 90% chance that they are not. They are watching. They are interested. That underscores the need for Okigwe and Owerri Zone to come together. That will give them 9 plus 6, 15. Then they look for 3 local government areas where they can get 25% of the votes from Olu. I read what C.S. Yakolisa wrote about our children. On a deeper thought, I said to myself, is he writing this thing because he loves Owerri too much? I came to the conclusion, no. He's raising an angle to the issue so that Okigwe and Olu will now find reason. Okigwe and Owerri will now find reason to fight and set the stage properly.
That was the game.
Put the all ablaze.
And Chisom has bought into it.
No, I did not.
So we need to come together. Like I said earlier, I am happy that the 2 business moguls from Okigwe and Owerri have unwittingly, without knowing it, been brought into the fray
Of the whole thing.
So Leostan should go and begin to call the actors in Owerri Zone. They will listen to him. Tony Chukwu should go and begin to call the actors in Okigwe Zone. They will listen to him. And then set up a small committee to tidy up the modalities for this discussion. Let it be known, Okigwe and Owerri. If they talk about this thing for 1 month, better. So that we will now know that it is a serious talk. Fully exhaustive. Talk about what an ambassador. Talk about this, talk about that, talk about that. But eventually come to a resolution. A compromise. That is the only thing this thing is going to work. Anything short of that will lead to a free for all. Let me tell you, at that time, the governor may not even be in control anymore. We have seen it happen. Rochas, with everything that he did, lost the ticket of APC.
We overwhelmed him, yes.
He was overwhelmed. He was overwhelmed. So if we now by middle of 2026 create the tension, That's it, you know. Remember that at that time, the governor will be preparing himself to go away and thinking of his future. Anybody that thinks he's going to throw himself into his election because he wants to bring a successor, or Hakim couldn't even succeed himself. Achuku couldn't try. Then I was in time. As for my people in the Owerri zone, I have said it before, I will say it again. They should go with a charter of equity, put it under the bed, go and shop for a candidate that can win an election. Out of here, maybe 2 or 3 of them. And then, when they jagog, my hand and then look at all those other parties and make sure that their tickets are. You understand?
Of course.
So that is my thinking, my brother.
It's quite been an interesting day, and our deliberation so far, everybody seems to be pointing to one direction: the need for Owerri and Okigwe zone to come together. I expected Nze Bagwe Kenodo to be present, but for some reason he couldn't make it to present the low side of the
Story.
argument. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here, and every one of us seemed to be saying one thing: Olo, Okigwe, and Owerri zone should come together. The modalities of that coming together is something that may be unveiled in the coming days. I don't know if the leaders are buying into the coming together, and I feel if that happens, it will give these two local governments stronger stakes, two zones, stronger stake in the argument. Also bearing in mind that don't dismiss what the young man over there raised, the issue of quality candidates.
Yes.
If at the end of the day the whole zones come together and produce one candidate that everybody is saying, and then Olo brings a candidate that is superior, you will be sure that the people will buy into it. So in everything, quality and equity will define the direction that the next governor of Imo State should go. Thank you very much for coming. I think in the next phase of our of issues with that sentiment, we'll be talking about something that has so much been an issue in Imo State. One governor comes, takes the state in gear 1, another governor comes, takes it gear 2. We've seen Hope Uzodima's infrastructural development. Ask yourself what happens if another governor comes and stops the roundabout at Assumpta, comes and reverses all the things that he has done. So there is something missing in Imo, which is what I call the development plan, the people's development plan. We don't have it. Lagos State has 50-year development plan. We'll be talking about that in the next episode of Issues Without Sentiment. Thank you very much.